Did I correctly hear you say that y'all were opposed to recommendations 1, 9, and 17?
Sir, we are opposed to the external primary care provider recommended in recommendation 1. We are opposed to recommendation 9, and we support recommendation 17, which offers a streamlined path to eligibility for other than honorable discharges.
Okay. I got 2 out of 3 right. That's pretty good. What is your organization's position on the Veterans First bill?
Sir, we support many of the provisions within the Veterans First bill, but we strongly oppose the pay-for that's been offered for the bill, as we've publicly stated, and our 30,000 messages from our members to Congress have also echoed.
Well, let me offer us, I heard that in the testimony, the reference to the don't take away any benefits, and I'd like to make a suggestion to all of you. When we're trying to address the concerns that all of you bring to us to improve the benefits to our veterans and make the VA work better, find ways to pay for improvements in the future. That doesn't mean we want to take money out of Richard Blumenthal's pocket as a veteran, or out of my pocket as a veteran, or anybody. But it may mean from time to time, just as we're going to have to do with Social Security and other things in terms of entitlements, we have to reform eligibility in the future to pay for eligibility in the present. It is very difficult for us to move forward if out of right field we get an objection that doesn't give us fair warning and a chance to explain ourselves, which is what happened on Veterans First in that particular situation. So I'm just wanted to memorialize for the public and the record. I sit here as chairman, and I think Richard's the same as ranking member. We're ready anytime, any place, anywhere somebody thinks we're taking away something to hurt a veteran, because we're never going to intentionally do that. But we also want to take a holistic approach and look at where we're putting together the money for the future, deal with the challenges of the future. Is that fair enough to say?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think as long as we're memorializing, I should state for the record my own view that there really should be no requirement as to a pay-for when we're talking about benefits for veterans. That's simply a matter of principle with me. I recognize that the majority has a somewhat different position, but there's no requirement in law or policy, so far as I know, that we could not go to the floor and ask for a budget point of order, and I think it would pass. And I am prepared to support that effort, and I will continue looking for other pay-fors, if that's a requirement, outside of veterans programs, because I believe that the Veterans First bill is a dramatic and historic step forward, and any additional funds required to it should come from non-veterans programs. And you and I have worked together very collegially in formulating this bill, and I hope we can continue to do it so that before it passes, we will find alternatives. And I really do appreciate your leadership, Mr. Chairman. You and I have spent many, many hours in seeking to address this dilemma, and I know you've done it in good faith, and this bill hopefully will pass in an even better form than what we have right now.
And I appreciate those comments and subscribe to them, but my point I'm trying to take to the VSOs is this. If you see us doing something that you have an objection to or perceive there might be a benefit challenge to, come to us first. I'm talking about us being Senator Blumenthal and myself. let's see if we first of all can make sure we understand what change we're making and work together to get it changed, because a lot of times one little cog in the machine can stop everything else from happening because we just didn't address it and talk about it. That's the main point. And I agree with everything he said, but who is in charge right now requires us to put a pay-for on the floor. We can go to the floor for UCs, but since we have the requirement, we ought to try and first see if we can't find a way to meet the requirement before we decide we've got to battle with one another.
And
that was my main
and hopefully meet that requirement.
And that's where we're working.
Outside the VA programs, the VA mission, and the VA budget.
Precisely. I'm sorry to have taken so much time, but I think both those points needed to be addressed, both in terms of let's get this appeals done, let's get it worked out, and let's make sure we don't leave behind the 445,000 that are waiting. And let's make sure that in the future, if we have differences on benefits, we talk about them first before we declare war on each other and end up slowing